Francis Luke Robinson.
Steve Robinson's mini-me.
He's spitting image, isn't he, John? Really is. And he has fast hands like Steve also.
Yeah, nice boxer. Undefeated in 4 contests. And Dad, Steve, of course, a former world champion, WBO featherweight champion. Has some great nights down here in South Wales when Steve was champion. 7 defences before losing to Nazim Hamad. And here's his son.
Our next contest this evening is 4 3-minute rounds in the light welterweight division. Firstly, please welcome, wearing the blue and gold shorts, weighing in 9 stone 10, fighting out of the red corner, with a record of 1 win and 4 losses, hailing from Talbot Green, Tony Pace. And across the ring is a young man currently undefeated in 4 contests, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black shorts, weighing in 9 stone, 10 pounds, 8 ounces. Please welcome from Cardiff, Francis Luke Robinson. Your referee in charge of the action is Marcus McDonald of Twickenham, who will now give his final instructions to both boxers.
Luke, Tony, right, you both know the rules of boxing. Next time, so one for you will say, famous at all times, watch your heads, keep it clean. Any questions? Let's go to work.
Talked about Tony Pace's lack of support in the corner in some of his previous fights. Well, he's got one of the most experienced men in Welsh boxing there tonight. Di Gardner helping Tony Pace. There's Francis Robinson. There is Tony Pace. Let's see what he can do with Francis Robinson here. Francis Luke Robinson. And I'm sure it is going to be a good fight, this one. I'd be extremely surprised if this one ended in the first round.
Yeah, me also, John. But he's come straight out of the gate, hasn't he? Tony Pace straight at Steve. Luke, sorry, he looks so much like Steve Robinson. It's hard to call him his father's name. Yeah, but he's come straight at Luke, working. He knows Luke's not a massive puncher, so he's going to fancy putting a lot of pressure on him, throwing lots of shots and making Luke work.
Well, Pace has had a tendency just to be a slightly slow starter in his previous fights. I'm sure that's something he's tried to address. I know when we talked about him a couple of times, he's been on Box Nation before, we're full of praise for him, saying, yeah, this is a lad who's been matched hard, but he's got talent. And here you see he's carrying the fight straight away, right to Robinson. This fight will be scored by the referee there, Marcus McDonald.
Yeah, but Luke's holding his hands up nice and high, taking most of those shots on his gloves and his elbows, and trying to counter with single shots. But I think he'll need more than single shots to keep Tony Pace at bay.
Pace keeps coming, and Robinson just told off for a body shot which strayed low, in the opinion of the referee. And at the moment, okay, a lot of these might be being taken on arms and gloves, but certainly to the eyes of the fans away from ringside, it would certainly look as though Pace is the one who's forcing the fight here and maybe landing the more shots.
No, yeah, you're definitely right, John. He's throwing punches, and every four or five that hit the gloves and elbows, 1 or 2 get through. So, you know, at the moment he's slightly ahead in this round. That's a very good shot.
Yeah, that was better, wasn't it? And in and out there with the body shot and nice footwork to get away from the potential counter.
Yeah, when he lets his hand go, Luke, they're very fast hands, just like his father. And he needs to throw more combinations, I think, just to keep Tony at bay. You don't have to be power shots, but it keeps him from throwing his own punches back at you.
Dad Steve was really one of boxing's Cinderella man, wasn't he? He was the journeyman who became a champion, got his opportunity at late notice to fight John Davison back in 1993. He took it, he won it, and then 7 successful defences.
Oh, phenomenal. A big hero of mine. We're from the same council estate, and we actually lived in the same street at a certain stage of our lives, so he was a massive inspiration for my career.
He was always a delight to work with Steve Robinson back in the day. That's a nice shot from his son, nice left hand. Always polite, always courteous, and always had time for everybody. He was an absolute role model, really.
Yeah, it really is, and the way he trained, you should see him now, John, the way he trains now, he's fitting the most for the fighters of today.
It's a nice round, good round. How did you score that one?
Well, it's a typical round to score, but I just give it to Tony Pace, I think, because he threw the more shots, you know, made the effort going forward. He got caught coming in, and there's signs of Luke Robinson. If he threw a few more punches, you know, he catches Tony Pace coming in with that sort of check left hook, as Mayweather would call it. But Tony Pace is making the work, he's throwing the shots, and some of them are landing on the gloves and the elbows, but a fair few were getting through.
Some nice work later on from Robinson. There you see he was getting in, landing to the body, and good footwork.
Yeah, he has some lovely skills, and he moves well, but it's just only a 4-rounder. And he's under tremendous pressure, and I think his father's telling him in the corner now, you know, he needs to work more when he's inside, rather than just keep his hands up high. He has the hand speed, and most definitely the fitness to up the work rate slightly.
There's Di Gardner in the blue T-shirt, speaking to Tony Pace. And he goes back a long way, doesn't he? He's been in the game, what, 30, 40 years?
Well, he was in Steve's corner. So
Indeed.
Johnny Owen, obviously.
Johnny Owen back in, when was that, the late 70s?
One of my favourite fighters, Robbie Regan, former world champion.
Who I gather is here somewhere tonight.
Yeah, I spoke to him on the phone today. He should be down, but he's not here already.
Well, the action continuing where it left off in the first, and it's Pace living up to his name, trying to set it.
Yeah, Luke's just slightly looking for the perfect shot. He just needs to let his hands go a little bit more. You know, he has the speed and the ability just to try and get those angles on the shots.
That's better. That's what Steve Robinson has been telling him in the corner, to concentrate on getting in and throwing those left hooks.
This is what I'd like to see when they're close up. I'd like to see Luke flurry of shots, you know, real shoe shine, you know, lots of like 5 or 6 fast punches, just so he can get out of trouble.
Robinson has a weakness. It's maybe that he hasn't got that single one concussive punch. Very nice technically though. That's a lovely body shot. Good work. And you see again excellent balance as he got away out of the range of a possible counter.
Yeah, he got some good skill. Good right hand over the top there. Just didn't quite land. That's a good shot as well there, John. He's starting to connect a little bit more. What we like to see.
Been a better round for Robinson so far.
Yeah, he's moving well and he's countering well. And he's throwing a few more shots than he did in the first round. Still needs to be aware of what's coming back though. Tony will make you work every second of every round.
Seen Robinson on Box Nation before, had a good win against Mark McRae back in February. Looking his way to ease himself up the rankings. This was originally touted to be a 6-rounder, reduced to 4. Who do you think the shorter distance is going to favour?
Well, I think Tony Pace, to be honest, because you know, obviously Luke's like a natural boxer and mover, so you like to have time to settle in. That's a nice jab and a duck there, just evading the countering shots. Yeah, I think it suits Tony well. He likes to come forward and work at a high rate. And beautiful punches. Good shots.
Good work from Robinson. Much more effective in this round. Those 2 body shots of quality.
I'd just like to see Luke throw a feint before he throws some punches. You know, a little feint just to make Tony keep his hands up high. You know, he's expecting a shot, and then let a nice little flurry of 3 or 4 punches, nice and straight. I think that'll work well for Luke.
One around the back of the head. Robinson, a little complaint to the referee. And the bell goes to end the second round. Better round for Robinson, I thought that.
Yeah, it's definitely an even fight at the moment, John. But he took a nice shot at the end there, Luke, so he has to just keep his hands up a little bit more. You know, when he is throwing his shots, he tends to drop both hands sometimes.
We'll see if we can hear in this corner.
Getting close, right? Forward fast punches to the body, head body, and then gone, right? Head body and gone. Keep that work there.
It's a bit close, right? To be honest with you. Yeah, that out for the last 2, right?
Yeah, get the eye-catching punches.
You've got to go now. You've got to go for the
Eye-catching,
right?
eye-catching.
Pick it up. You've got to go for the now, son. Because the fight's getting a bit close, okay? There's nothing in this fight.
Some good advice there from his dad, John. He's saying, you know, his dad, Steve, was saying to Luke there, so when you get inside, throw those fast punches, then move out the range, and I think that's good advice.
Second out, round 3.
Third round of the 4-rounder. And on Barry's card, dead level at the moment. That's where pace wants him. You can walk him down into range and find the target like that.
And that's where a feint will come in handy now, John. Just a nice little feint there. Stop him from charging forward and let your punches go. As his father was saying, when you get close, work those hands, nice fast punches, then get out of range. And, took a good shot there.
Robinson was tagged by left hand. Solid left hand as well. And just looked as though he was stunned for a moment.
Yeah, he just drops that right hand when he throws his left hand sometimes, John, and he has to be aware that he's come back with 2 good shots of his own and a nice body shot also.
Pace is fancying this now. Another warning for low punches from Robinson, and Pace is starting to believe. Steve Robinson looks more than a little anxious in that corner. Now, when he's allowed to fight at his own pace, Robinson looks comfortable, but when he's under pressure, like now, it can be a different story.
Yeah, he's just struggling to find his rhythm, isn't he? He's obviously the better boxer from range, but he's not being allowed to do that, and he's not giving himself the opportunities by, you know, he should throw double jabs maybe, or like I said, a little feint, just to give himself a little bit of room to work, but he needs to let his hands go, that's for sure.
And sweep boxing, as we know, Barry, doesn't necessarily always prevail. That's a nice little flurry of punches from Robinson.
Yeah, it's still a close round, but I think Tony's just nicking this round.
Oh, good right hand from Pace. And body shot as well. He's hurting. He's hurting. Referee didn't step in. He said it was a legitimate shot, and he was hurt with that body shot. And the referee saying, listen to what I'm saying. I have to say, it didn't look low to me. It'll be interesting to see a rerun of that. But he actually stopped Robinson, I think expecting the referee to step in, and Pace, had he just realised Robinson was leaving himself undefended.
Yeah, he just needs just a little bit of a rookie mistake, you know what I mean? You always listen to the referee, you know, he's the only one who can stop the fight. And you know, you always need to go down on one knee if you think you're being hit low, but never just stop.
Well, Robinson's still, I think, feeling the weight of those body shots, and another right hand and the left hand going. These body shots are hurting Robinson. Pace is starting to find the head as well.
Well, we always thought when we heard this fight was made that it was a dangerous fight for Luke, and it's proven to be.
Well, this is a good round for Pace. Nice body shot from Robinson.
But it's always Tony looking to work, isn't it, when they're getting close. Luke's looking to hold.
Another excellent round. And for me, Tony Pace certainly won that one.
Oh, yeah, John, I'm with you 100%. Yeah, it was just see that, yeah, it was very low, John. Really was, right on the cut.
Well, that's a surprise. It's not given by the referee.
He was under the cosh a little bit, wasn't he, John, Luke? He just needs to let his hands go a little bit more. He got a nice high, tight defence. He relies on that a little bit too much sometimes when he's on the ropes.
Well, if he got a big shot on the protector, it's no surprise maybe that he looks a little bit disorientated.
Yeah, sure, yeah, he was a very, very low shot. But you've got to keep working. If the referee don't see it, you know, he was lucky, he got away with it, he got out of jail there. But he needs a big round now, Luke. He needs to put it out to the bag. John, I don't know if the referee's seeing it, but I imagine he will have somebody ahead.
Second out, fourth and last round.
Last round, it's been a good fight. I like the look of this one in theory when I knew it was taking place. Thought Robinson was going to have a difficult night of it, and Pace is certainly not playing his role, if the Robinson camp thought it, certainly not playing a role of fall guy. He's right in there.
Well, he's right in there and winning the fight, John. You know, on paper, Tony's an easy match, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's only got one win, but as we've seen ourselves on the show, he's a very dangerous opponent, and he's been unlucky in a couple of his fights against top prospects. But that's a good right hand from Luke, and he needs to throw more of those if he's going to try and pull us out of the bag.
Robinson needs a big last round. He started quite well in the first 30 seconds or so. Needs to maintain it though, and that's been a little bit of a problem. He's just not been letting enough leather go.
Well, he's finding it hard to find the space to throw punches, but Tony's so on him so quick, isn't he? He'll put a lot of pressure on his feet and then throw lots of punches.
Pace walked straight into a solid left hand, took it well and still keeps coming. So much desire about the work of pace.
Well, it is, and when they're getting close, it's Luke that wants to hold first, which I'm surprised because he throws good body shots, and I think his father will be quite annoyed that he's not working when they're in close. But when they get into that mid-range, this is when Luke needs to let his hands go. He has the faster hand speed, and that can sometimes out-hustle the guy with the bigger shot, as Tony seems to have.
And is Robinson doing enough to win this last round? This could be absolutely crucial. If Robinson can take this one, he might still emerge from what's been a very, very difficult night. But here again, in this last round, it just has the look of a fight which is being made by pace. He's the one who's forcing the action.
Yeah, I still think this round is anywhere wrong, John, but you are right. You know, when it comes down to a close round, the referee will often give it to the guy who's making the fight.
Last minute could be crucial. Here we go.
That's a lovely bit of work there by Luke. He needs more of that. His father was telling him in the round after the second round to throw combinations and then move.
A little bit messy. Referee trying to keep the action going. That's another sweet right hand. A sneak right hand lead from Robinson.
Yeah, he has some skills, John, doesn't he, when he's allowed to work. But Tony won't give him that luxury.
Good body shot. Lovely left hand. And Robinson was hurt by that. That left hook hurt Robinson. Wants to hold on.
Yeah, you could hear it in your ringside. It's a good shot, and I think Tony feels that, and he's applying a lot of good pressure again.
Robinson has to really dig deep, but he's on the receiving end again in the last few seconds of this fight. And Pace is coming forward, another big body shot, and the solid right hand, and Robinson just wants to hold on.
It's a good fight, this, John, isn't it? You know, they're really both going for it.
Well, what a good fight. And Marcus McDonnell, rightly, in my opinion, and I think probably in that of Barry as well, gives the verdict to Tony Pace, the best win of his career.
Yeah, most definitely, yeah. He pulled it out of the bag in that last round. Luke needed to win that last round, in my eyes, to get a draw. He didn't do enough. He has a lot of skill, but he was out-hustled and outworked, and at times, Tony just needed to want the fight more.
First minute and a half of that last round, Robinson was getting in and out, landing terrific, some lovely sneak shots, but then Pace just kept on coming. And there was one point, I'm not sure if we're going to see it, but it was there, that left hook, that was what took the stuffing out of it.
Yeah, just as Luke was starting to get his rhythm in that last round, and then Tony just took it away with that body shot, and then, to be fair to Luke, he was under pressure, he done well, he took a lot of stuff, but it's a character-building fight. His father lost the fight, and he come on to be a world champion, so, you know, it's nothing...
Yep. No, it's still the learning process. He will come again. I wouldn't mind seeing that fight again. Anyway, this is the way it's ended tonight, with a win for Tony Pace.
Ladies and gentlemen, your referee, Marcus McDonnell, scores the contest 39 points to 38. The winner in the red corner from Talbot Green, Tony Pace. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the gallant Francis Luke Robinson.
39 points to 38. Tony Pace, one of the fighters who we've come to enjoy on Box Nation, Richard, gets a really good win.
You can say that again, John. This may not be my game, but I told you about him, didn't I?
You did back in October. You said
that
the
boy
snake
can fight.
Yeah, you were back in October. That was, we'll give you your credit there, Richard. This fella here, as soon as we come off camera, then he said, "I fancy an upset in this fight tonight."
Why did you fancy an upset?
Styles make fights, and I think Francis Luke Robinson's style is right for Tony Pace, and Tony Pace's style is wrong for his. You know, Tony Pace was due a win. He's a tough fighter. He's been matched very hard. And tonight he received just relentless pressure. It was nice little low blower in the third round and the ref didn't see. But you know, apart from that, I thought Tony Pace dominated the fight. I think Francis Robinson, he tried to box for the first couple of rounds, used his legs a lot, got tired, and then he was trying to fight Tony Pace's own game, which is up close, throwing a lot of leather, which he couldn't do.
Was that supposed to happen?
I'm not saying it's not a massive upset. You know, I'd call it a minor upset. Hey, it wasn't supposed to. He's the house fighter.
Exactly.
I wouldn't call it the biggest upset, more a minor upset. But he was hurting him as well in the last round.
But what does this do for Robinson?
Hey, look, his dad's going to come back from adversity plenty of times, so he'll go back to the drawing board. His dad won't give up by any stretch. You know, he'll use his dad. He should use his dad as a springboard for what he can do, because his dad come back from so many setbacks, losses, and become a world champion. He was South Wales' Cinderella man.
The Snake had a nasty bite tonight, and here he is with Bunsey.
Thanks very much, fellas. Thanks very much indeed. Tony, only the second win in 6, but surely the sweetest possible victory.
Yeah, well, I knew I had to do with him. He's a good boxer, so I had to keep the pressure on. But they tried to change it. Well, they changed to a 4 round instead of 6. 6 would have preferred me, to be honest.
6 would have suited you better.
Yeah, of course. I would have done what I've done what I had to do now in the 4. So just move on and progress now.
No, that's. You've been in some hard fights. We've talked about it before. Ronnie Heffron, the Lewis Reese fight, and I appreciate you're brave and I appreciate you're good enough. You've got the amateur pedigree. You've certainly got the pedigree here. But would you? I'll ask you. I'll come to you in a second, Di. But would you like to see slightly not easier fights, but sort of fights where you're not up against it quite so much?
Yeah, well, what it was, I honestly had a good experience. I got that now, but I ain't promoted. I ain't got no sponsors. If I had that, I'd be able to go a bit slower, do you know what I mean? Because I haven't got no support, because I've never done so good in the amateur, I haven't got no promoter, so I got to learn the hard way, really.
Di is learning the hard way. He's coming through. You're no stranger to having guys come through the hard way. But do you think it's time now to maybe give him not necessarily easy fights, but fights where he doesn't have to fight flat out just to get a draw or a close win?
Well, I wish he could, but nobody fighted him. I mean, we've had about 5 or 6 different opponents. Everyone pulls out. So, I mean, it's been hard. I know he boxed Heffron, and since he boxed Heffron, it's been really hard work. But Tony's down to lightweight now, so, I mean, he's going to be a force.
Yeah, he certainly is going to be a force. Now, you work with Steve Robinson, who, of course, is in Luke's corner for a long time. And there was moments where I saw Luke there that reminded me a little bit of Steve. Just when he was looking for shots and cagey.
Yeah, he didn't have. He seems a better boxer than Steve, but he didn't have Steve's determination. Steve will open up with about 8 or 9 shots and keep you there. Like, he didn't seem to have that. Well, he wasn't allowed to. Tony wouldn't allow him to do it anyway.
No, you certainly will. Listen, well done, Tony. Nice to speak to you again. Right, let's hope that we see more of the Snake. Let's hope he becomes one of our fights. Let's hope we get him in some big fights, because down the line, at lightweight or light welter, I know that Steve Lillis will agree. I'm sure Enzo will, and I know you're a big fan of his, Richard. Wouldn't it be great to have the Snake on board?
I was just thinking that, funnily enough, Steve. He said his trainer that he's struggled to get fights since Heffron. After that, is he going to find it more difficult?
Yeah, he will find it more difficult. He's he's close to home. He's on the road as such, and he's sprung an upset against someone who had a former world champion and his dad in his corner. And there will be more careful. What you'll most probably get, what they'll do, they're saying he's down to lightweight. You'll get people trying to match him at light welterweight, won't you? And welter even. So they have the size advantage on him. But it will become tougher for him. Yeah.
Up next, one of yours, gentlemen, you know very well.
Yeah, Lewis Reese, watch him all from the amateur game. Very good amateur boxer. Obviously, just joined Gary Lockett's gym. He's a member of the team. Very good fighter. Very good future in front of him.
And we very much look forward.